they ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they never understand.
What's going on, guys? DigiEds here. Welcome back with another video. And this video was bound to be made because it turned out that one of my videos was built on lies. And if you don't know what I'm talking about Slendytubbies. Now, the video I posted was made 2 years ago, and back then there wasn't much info on the Slendytubbies models and its origins. I just saw a few people make the videos of their origins, and I just pieced them all together into one video. But turns out a few of the models I mentioned in the video were false, not mentioned, and debunked. Like my Beast Bash figure. So here I am making an improved version of a 2-year-old video. So grab your snacks and make yourself comfortable because we're going to dive into the world of used models in Slendytubbies. Also, just to let you guys know, I have got most of my info and resources from a channel called Miss Lammy, and I would recommend you guys check out their channel. I will put a link to the video in the description. But with that, I will explain how this is going to go. To get started, I'm going to do this in order you see them in the game. So first we'll be taking a look at is Tinky Winky. So in my original video, I said that the face was based on a Halloween scarecrow, but someone commented that it isn't its real name, and the real name for it was Gemmy Halloween Ghastly Groom. In other words, it's a Halloween scarecrow. Nothing is different on this character other than the face. They just... Man, that's it. Next up, we have Tinky Tank. Now, everyone would agree that Tinky Tank is based on the tank from Left 4 Dead. I mean, it's very obvious. They both have tank in their name, but that's where you're wrong. Tinky Tank was actually based on this monstrosity here. This abomination is called the Dante Beast from Bond 1. Now, you may be asking, what is Bond 1? And to answer that question, I have absolutely no idea, because if you try to look up Bond 1, you're not going to find anything you're looking for. Now, all they did to change the Dante Beast to Tinky Tank was shrink his head, cover him fur, put an iPad on his belly, and give him a Teletubby head. And you may be also wondering, what head am I talking about? Well, if you zoom into that big noggin of Tinky Tank, you're going to find a surprise of eternal suffering waiting for you on the other side. Moving on, we have Mountain Tubby and Cave Tubby. While you were being chased by Tinky Tank and his suffering friend, you are given a choice to go to the mountains or the cave. So here in the cave, we have Claw Tubby. Now 2 years ago, not a single person made a video about Claw Tubby and what model was used to make him. But I, on the other hand, decided to make a theory about how Claw Tubby and my favorite Hot Wheels toy were one and the same. I mean, how could this not come out to be this? They both have a jaw slanted to the left, they are missing a right arm, they have the same body structure, they both have freaking iPads on their bellies. Man looked at Hot Wheels and went, yes. Yes, I did. But that theory was debunked by you guys and a YouTuber who found his true origins. He was actually based off of the albedo creature. My point still stands. I think Beast Bash is Claw Tubby. What the frick is that? Why is he the color of mayonnaise? Why does he look like a buffed version of a newborn xenomorph from Alien Resurrection? This one's even worse. What frick you smirking at? I can't look at this thing anymore. Let's move on to the mountains. So on the mountains, we have Yeti Tubby. That one Teletubby that has an all-you-can-eat Teletubby buffet on one side and a robot being held hostage on the other. We will talk more about this robot later, but for now let's talk about Yeti Tubby. Now he looks harmless with his coat on until you reveal what lies under that coat. Here we have the Tyrant Zombie. How I wish that were true. What we really got is his ugly cousin, the Tyrant Zombie. Now, you'd think that the albedo creature was the ugly one in the bunch, but this was the icing on the cake. Now, this is the first model we're talking about that came from Uni Asset Store, and believe me, there's way more where that came from. The only thing that's different between the two is only how the Tyrant Zombie is just a skinned version of the Yeti-Tubby, and that's just about it. So moving on, we have Unit 437. Now, this is the robot that's being held hostage. And to top it all off, it isn't even original. His true identity is called Automate. A non-original character with a non-original name. How perfect. His original model came from the Uni Asset Store, and literally nothing is different between the two. So let's leave this guy to chop down trees, and let's move on to Lala. So Lala was possibly based on two models. If I'm wrong, you can tell me why in the comments, but originally it was speculated that Lala was based on a thing called Monster from Donald Horror Story. But that might not be the case, because a thing called Bond 1 has something just like it called the Twitcher. If Bond 1 doesn't ring a bell, it should, because they are responsible for this monstrosity right here. Now, there's no type of info about Bond 1 because Zeoworks did use it to get albedo creatures, so there's a possibility that they did the same for the Twitcher as well. But with all that sorted out, let's move on to the satellite station. To kick things off, we have one Teletubby that I think we all know at this point. His name is Ron, and now you may be wondering, what is he based on? And to answer that question, in case you haven't known, he was based on these children's show icons called the Teletubbies. Nothing has changed between the two, other than how he's blue, bald, and has a black eye from being sucker punched by a Teletubby we know least about. Oh wait, who am I talking about? I'm talking about this guy. What's his name again? Dipstick, Darcy, Dipsy. His name was Dipsy. Now, because everyone in the satellite station was picking on this loser for not having a head, he pulled up with the chainsaw and beat the brakes off of everyone and on my boy Ron. He does have a weak demise in the end. But that's just about it. Now, he was based on the... Oh dear. Let's just move that right off the side. We don't need to talk about that. So let's move on to the Gundam himself, Announcer. Why did Patrick pop up in my head when I saw this? So as we all know, he's the first boss we encounter after making Dipsy trip the fire alarm. So here's the Announcer before the modifications. It's just those guys with a shower head wedged on top.
But don't worry! Due to the high demand for
announcers, Unity Assets
thought it was a good idea to come out with the
two other Recolors,
With-
Yellow Snow Yellow, Scarlett Johansson Red, and a cotton candy themed robot.
So the next one we'll be looking at is Poe's second form, that being this thing. Now the new version of Stage 2 Poe could have been made with the Slasher Necromorph model from Dead Space, but that doesn't seem to be the case because Bond 1 has something just like it. Only difference is that one looks like a Teletubby and the other one doesn't. Now after Stage 2 Poe, we have our friendly neighborhood Spider Poe. Now you'd think we'd be done hearing about the Uni Asset Store, but you'd be wrong, because it made a comeback with the Overseer. Now the only drastic difference about these two models is the head. Now like Tinky Winky, they just removed the original head, replaced it with Poe's, and then gave it an iPad because you can't go places without a stomach iPad. I could totally see the next generation of Teletubbies having screens on their arms that resemble Apple Watches. Just you wait, it's coming. But after your friendly neighborhood Spider Poe, our journey through story mode ends while our journey through reused models doesn't. So let's continue, shall we? So the next character I'll be talking about is the Ranged Newborn. Now in my original video, it said that he was Revenant from Doom 3, but that was actually false. Zeoworks actually used a horror monster, the Lost One model from, wouldn't you guessed it, the Uni Asset Store. And like every other Uni Asset Store Tubby, they take the original model and then they slap a Teletubby head on it and call it new. And it surprisingly works. Next we have the Shadow Newborn. I don't have names for these guys, so I'm just going to make them up as I go. But anyways, he was based off of the Skinless Crawler. And I'm going to give you guys some time to take a guess where Zeoworks got this model from. Time's up. It's the Uni Asset Store. After the Shadow Newborn, we have the Spider Robot. Now, he has to be the least changed character in the game because his model is called the Spider Robot from Uni Asset Store. Now, we have my personal favorite, the Fat Newborn. They had just beefed my boy up, and you wanna know why? It's because he came from the freaking Unity Asset Store. They went scrolling through the Unity Asset Store, found a Creature Rock model, and slapped a Teletubby head on it. It was that easy. Okay, let me just skim through these real quick. Bulltubby, Juggernaut from the Unity Asset Store. Spider Newborn, Creature Spider from the Unity Asset Store. Short and Stubby Announcer, Armored Golem from the Unity Asset Store. Imposter, Sword Robot from a Unity Asset Store. That's just a model with a hat on. And from there, our Uni Asset Store journey has ended. Yeah, right. We know where they get their models from. So let's take a break from Uni Asset Store real quick and take a look at Lake Dipsy. The classic one, because the new one uses Uni Asset Store and we don't want to go through that just yet. But anyways, Classic Lake Dipsy uses the Regenerator from Resident Evil 4. Great game, by the way, recommend you play it. But now, we are back with the Uni Asset Store. Here's Lake Dipsy, here's Anglerman. Good, good. Now we have Aerotubby, who is, once you guess it, a Uni Asset Store model. I just cannot escape. They used a creature reptile for him, and with all honesty, they did absolute justice on his face. Like, you can't imagine how hard it is to look at his face. Although, it can't beat how ugly Albedo Creature is, but it was never about him. Now, we have Shadowtubby, that one Teletubby that will kick your kneecaps in to kill you.
Nope.
And he was based on the character troll from the Uni Asset Store. Here we have the creepy yandere anime girl that sucker punches you to your demise. She was based on this ugly-skinned mesh combiner. And because Zeoworks doesn't care about my demands, they took her straight from the Uni Asset Store. Anyways, thank you, Zeoworks. Now, for the moment that you all have been waiting for. The one character everybody loves the most. It's Rick Astley! I didn't know he was in the game, but it turned out that he was an Easter egg. And on top of that, he isn't from the Uni Asset Store! They took him straight from Bond 1. Finally! But with that, that is just about every single model that was put into Slendytubbies. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment, or even subscribe. I'm about to hit 1K, so your support will mean a lot. But with that, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.